Hello again, fellow podcaster, and welcome back to Pod Theory. I'm your host, Jason Cercone, and today I'm answering the question, how did COVID-19 change podcasting? So, 2020, am I right? It's been a year for the books, that's for sure. As we continue to battle through this ongoing pandemic, we hope that as each day passes, we get a little closer to some kind of resolution and some type of finality to all this craziness. But as this podcast goes live in November of 2020, we're just a few days from Thanksgiving, and things are definitely still clouded with uncertainty. Hospital beds are filling up as cases continue to rise. Businesses in many parts of the country are being forced to close their doors once again. Restaurants who are already dealing with limited capacities and, in colder climates, the end of outdoor seating for the season, they have to once again pivot just to keep their businesses operational. Many people are being forced to change their holiday plans. To summarize, this all just totally sucks. It's a period in our lives that can't be fully chronicled yet because we still haven't seen how this movie ends. But one thing we can do right now is look at how many things have changed due to COVID-19. Cleanliness is a big thing. Think of the extent that stores and bars, restaurants, gyms, and all other businesses have had to go to in order to keep things safe for their customers. Now, granted, a clean environment is something that should always be offered by any business to every customer. But COVID-19 has certainly amplified these practices. And I can't believe we live in a world where we need to tell adults to wash their hands. But here we are. And of course, masks. Before COVID hit back in March, only Batman had to worry this much about leaving the house and forgetting his mask. Maybe Zorro, too. Probably the biggest pivot that we've all had to make is working from home and helping our kids adjust to an online learning environment. For many people, they've had to do both of these things simultaneously. My daughter's currently in 5th grade, and I have to say, she's adjusted to online learning quite well. It was a little rough at first, but she's really gotten acclimated to it. As much as a 10-year-old who doesn't get to see her friends every day can, that is. But she's doing very well in all her classes, and she's gained some tremendous accountability skills through all of this, making sure she has her work done, making sure she gets to her daily Zoom meetings on time. You have to find little silver linings wherever you can, and for me, that's definitely a big one. Now, shifting the conversation to podcasting, without question, COVID has changed the landscape. In a lot of ways, I contribute the growth of podcasts in 2020 to the pandemic. Think about it. When all hell broke loose and people were forced to stay home, they had a lot of time on their hands. Many people discovered their culinary skills. Others got caught up on TV shows they'd been meaning to watch. Way too many people watched Tiger King. And many people started consuming podcasts, either for the first time or at a much more rapid pace. As of August of this year, we broke 1 million active podcasts, according to our friends over at musicoomph.com. And that number continues to grow. I added a podcast to that count myself during this time period, and I'm helping others do the same. As the pandemic continues, more brands are turning to podcasts because of the medium's popularity, because of its ability to establish authority in their niche, and for its ability to establish trust with their consumers. Without question, demand is influencing supply in the podcast space. Another big change is how podcasts are produced. Regular studio recordings and in-person interviews have been replaced with long-distance recordings. As we both know, one of the big winners in 2020 has been Zoom. Their platform has literally kept millions of companies alive thanks to the ability to conduct meetings virtually. Likewise, it's given podcasters the ability to connect with guests and other co-hosts on their show, thus keeping many existing shows going and giving birth to new podcasts that have been built strictly in a virtual environment. There's another silver lining for you. As a podcaster, utilizing a service like Zoom and recording your podcast long distance enhances your guest list. Instead of focusing on personalities that are local and conducting interviews in person, you can connect with someone on the other side of the world and produce a quality podcast at the end of the day without leaving your house. Now, do I wish we could have stumbled upon these things without having to deal with COVID? Of course. In fact, I've done long-distance podcasting in the past, and you may have done so as well. But utilizing a service like Zoom definitely opens up more options to have different guests on your show. If there's one thing that won't change after COVID-19 is finally in our rearview mirror, it's going to be the importance of services like Zoom for keeping us connected and providing us as podcasters alternative ways to produce content. We're going to continue to push through the coronavirus pandemic because what choice do we have? We have to push forward. Hopefully, we're going to get to a point soon where all of this craziness is behind us. Do your part, stay safe, and wherever and whenever you can, try to find some silver linings in your world. And that's it for episode 46 of Pod Theory. If you like what you heard today, please take a quick 30 seconds to share it with someone else who needs to hear it. Good talk. I'll see you back here tomorrow. This has been Jason Cercone on Pod Theory.